have seen the oppression of my people in Egypt and have heard their cry. Stop it! Leave that man alone! So I have come down to deliver them out of slavery.
We've been over here for a little while. This ain't a place for a child. You can try to keep them out of the mess. They can run, they go see it go down. Thinking y'all that we waking up now. You a king, don't you fall to the crowd. Don't you be with nobody that's loud. When you move, you should not make a sound. Most of these youngers be banging. They in the street, but they don't know their language. All of these curses, the danger. They feel that pain and they feel that with anger. Have you ever seen a nigga blown away? I'ma make it back home today. We killing each other, our own race. We need to go back to our home place. Zion, let my people go. 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 It's a warning, come back to the Father. We done turned the whole back on our Father. We ain't keeping His laws, that's why we fall. We not attached to the Father.
Leader, they want to hear from the mayor. If y'all ain't learned that yet. The mayor, not the trustees that don't do nothing, that only run their mouth. Y'all don't do no work. Y'all forget I am the leader.
I could not be here breathing and be comfortable if I was really as bad as they was making it. You know, nobody could be around me. So for me to be this calm, I must have some kind of inner peace. And my inner peace is knowing that once everybody take the time to really see what type of person I am, you'd be surprised that I stuck around this long. I have to make the life that I do live as happy as I can and try to do the best with what I have. You know, live the best life I can live, be as happy as I can be. Nothing is perfect for anybody. I don't know.
Boys, I swear, I think I figured it out. You know why they don't want us redneck brothers and sisters and the hood brothers and sisters getting along? You know why? Because we'd be unstoppable. I'm telling you right now, we would shut shit down.
Hello, blessings. We will shut shit down. Welcome to Uncensored Enlightenment Talk. And you're here with your host, Grace Levi. We got an amazing evening, action-packed evening. This is a special broadcast, and we're going to dedicate this to all of the possible victims, named and unnamed, of this gentleman right here. We're going to put him on the screen. Andrew Holmes. All right, so I know people have been aware of this for a while, that there is a new case that's filed against Andrew Holmes, and her name is Miss Aisha Brown. Yeah, so we're going to be getting into that case towards the far end of this broadcast. But what we're going to do is do a flashback. Okay, it's going to take a little while for us to unpack this, but I do think some Dolton residents don't understand the sketchiness and the weirdness that is connected to Andrew Holmes' background. So we're going to touch a few topics, sensitive topics today. Some of them is going to highlight Kenneka Jenkins, another case that he was around, as well as we're going to highlight one of his latest victims before Miss Gant, and that is Fenia. We're just going to flash back. And guess what? I didn't even have to go do a deep dive myself, because I found two amazing videos that was made by two content creators, very small page, but it had the work. So it had information. It has information that I think we should listen to, and maybe we can put some more things together. Lastly, what I am going to show you is that we don't complain here. We're going to highlight the truth, and then we're going to come with some solutions. So we're going to talk about that towards the end of the live. I want to say thank you for being here with me. Please hit the like button. I'm going to start the presentation, and I will be getting into the comments in about 15 minutes into the broadcast. So do get into the comment section. Tell me how you feel, because you know I'm going to put it on the screen, okay? Tonight, we have to continue to expose Andrew Holmes. So let's go.
The cold has yet to snap, and that's usually the surest sign that summer and crime are coming. But today, the city's biggest titles outlined a significant drop in key stats. And as Brad Edwards shows us, they used one face as a shining example of what's right.
For the last 6 quarters, we've had a significant reduction in the murder rate, also with a significant reduction in the shooting rate.
The backdrop, a key drop in gang shootings. Through March 13, 2014, down 45% compared to a year prior, 60% fewer compared to 2 years ago. 2 years into a strategy of gang audits and warning future potential victims. Has the deep freeze aided that drop, especially this season?
Well, it hasn't been winter for the last year and a half. That's really the key here. It's been a very steady progression.
Amongst a storm of numbers and titles, there was one name.
People like Andrew Holmes.
Like Andrew Holmes.
The community leader, Andrew Holmes.
The only non-title along the wall. Community advocate Andrew Holmes, referenced again and again.
Well, what does that say about crime fighting strategy?
To have the safety you need in a neighborhood, you got to live by a moral code, not a code of silence. And I'm going to highlight Andrew Holmes because he has stepped forward and said, I have a moral code. I have a moral responsibility.
And back to the super who was quick to note, it's progress, not success. He says guns still remain one of the city's top scourges, 1,000 guns seized already this year. In the newsroom, Brad Edwards, CBS 2 News, Robin.
So, as we start to unpack this, we're going to show you some of Andrew Holmes' connections and some of the things that he have done and allegedly his recognition. And, you know, we just have to question something.
New this hour 18, he's helped in solving murders and cold cases. Now this well-known Chicago community activist helps police catch his own brother, accused of a crime hitting so many of us in the city. CBS 2's Stephen Graves talked to him about why he led police to a member of his own family.
Andrew Holmes believes wrong is wrong, even if it means holding a family member accountable.
No, we're close, not bitter. When you got the proof right here, and I'm looking at you, and I'm watching you.
Holmes is referring to this doorbell video he says shows his brother, Eric Holmes, stealing packages. You see him walk up to and then sit on a porch, later walking away, bag in hand.
And I want you all to just keep this in mind. I know you guys have heard this before, but Andrew Holmes finds it acceptable to snitch on his brother for stealing little items. But as you know, he stuck by this woman and still is sticking by her, and she's sticking with him to the end. So we're just going to keep that in mind while we finish listening to him snitch on his brother.
These are people's personal property. They paid for these items to come.
Holmes says Auburn Gresham neighbors recognized his brother. Call after call from other people saying his sibling did the same thing to them.
Nah, so yeah, I got to put a stop to him.
And he did.
You know they're looking for you. Ooh, police. Yeah.
Calling Chicago police detectives to come pick him up last month. Holmes' normal work of helping find murder suspects and consoling grieving families put on pause for his own family business.
You know, just because you're my brother don't make you right that you have to commit a crime and you have to get away.
This is far from the first time Eric has had trouble with the law, accused in July of stealing packages from a USPS mail truck, smashing the side window with a rock. Police say they caught him with a duffel bag full of the stolen items ranging from shirts and jeans to coasters. Holmes says his brother struggles with substance abuse. This was in an effort to save him, he says, from more run-ins with the law or even getting killed.
Who's the best person to find a relative is a relative. You know how to find him, you know how to get him, put a stop to him.
Holmes says he hopes by speaking up, this will motivate anyone with loved ones caught up in criminal activity to take action and get those family members some much needed help. Reporting.
So I just wanted to add that because he basically told on his brother for stealing packages from the Postal Service, alleging that his brother had a drug addiction problem. And that's some of the allegations that's against him now when it comes to Henyard. But he's not stealing packages. Henyard's stealing dollars, community dollars. Now, we're going to move on into another story. And this is a touching story. In this particular story, Andrew Holmes played the advocate, okay? And he said some things that I want you guys to listen to. And he lost a lot of credibility in this. And this particular situation was the situation that was the turning point for him and Jedidiah. So let's play this. Kenneka Mom, well, actually, Kenneka Jenkins, supposed to be mom, says Andrew Holmes told her, tell them stop protesting the hotel.
Hey, lad. I'm on my way. I'm on my way right now. You know, I was just thinking about Andrew Holmes. He did make a lot of sense earlier when I talked to him on the phone. When he told me the hotel not making money, so I should get up on live and ask y'all to shut the protest down. I should have listened to him earlier, because he did make a lot of sense, huh? You did, huh? But it's okay. I never pointed fingers in the first place, if y'all could look through my videos. But it just didn't make sense, and that's what I said from day one. It does not make any sense. So for him to call my phone and tell me I need to get up on Facebook and go live and tell live to stop the protest because the hotel not making money, I guess that one day affected them when didn't nobody rent their rooms. So I guess y'all doing too much, but only thing I'm asking y'all, could y'all please just do it in peace. Don't get them people's nothing to talk to y'all to talk about. Please, I beg y'all. I'm on my way right now. All right. Love you.
All right, y'all. So right here, if y'all remember this was, hold on one second. This went to another. I'm gonna pause it on Miss Jenkins' face, because if you guys remember this, I went through this with her as well as all of YouTube, and I remember this. And Andrew Holmes alleges that he saw the video and he talked on the behalf of the family. And at that time, I did not really know Jedidiah or anything about him, but this was significant because when I came back across Jedidiah, it made me remember his role in the Kenneka case. And what I saw at that time, only thing that I really knew is that him and Andrew Holmes were supposed to represent the family or help with the protest efforts. But then there was a disconnect that happened. So I'm going to show you where that disconnect happened. And then I'm going to show you Jedidiah's reaction. And we're going to watch what Andrew Holmes says. And this is what caused the disconnect. Let's play this.
Walked into that unsecured area that should have been secured with locks on there where she couldn't get in there.
So he's talking about what happened to Kenneka, giving detail, what he saw on the video and everything. And mind you, mom did not get to see the video. So I want you to listen your best because the volume's not high, but I do want y'all to hone in on Jedidiah's face because that's what I honed in on. And I was like, okay, something is not right with this situation. And I'm going to be honest. I saw a lot of pain, hurt, and then anger in Jedidiah's face. So let's watch this.
Inside the freezer down there, the fun looking at that freezer, you can open up that door, take a half step up, turn to your left, pull the other door. This door would be closing anyway. The other door, probably when she got in there, that door closed on her too. And it was dark in there. Now, there is a knob that you can push to get out of there, but, you know, that investigation has to go on with the Rosemont Police Department to wait on the toxicology to see what's going on with that. But as far as someone pulling her down there or leading her down there, no. Did she appear inebriated, intoxicated? What was her behavior like? Well, that has to come from the toxicology to tell you what was in her system. But she appears to be impaired, but at the same time, it has to come from the toxicology report. But it still doesn't take away from that. That area should have been secured. Now, from me looking at the video, she was trying to find her way back upstairs to the lock. And she was checking the doors, and she was checking other doors, just trying to find her way back.
Look at Jedidiah's face, y'all. I can see him boiling now. At this point, you know, I'm just a bystander on the outside watching, listening what's going on. And she's severely angry for a reason. Because what it comes to is that Andrew Holmes is lying. We're not going to listen to this whole clip. I'm going to leave the video so you can watch the full thing. We're going to skip ahead a little bit. But then you see Jedidiah. Just watch him. Just watch him.
Did you talk to her, though?
also work with all police agencies. Just
This man said he was a private investigator. Now, I didn't go down the Yellow Brick Road this live, if you guys would want me to, because I think this is something that, you know, is being pursued by INA. And I know they're doing an amazing job. Yeah, but that guy, I don't think he was ever a private investigator, as well as a few other things that needs to be exposed and pursued. But I'm going to let them continue to do their investigations. We're going to periodically do lives on this man and his lies. But I do have some information to feed, you know, everyone, so you guys can continue to get this man out of there. Okay, because he has to get out of there, and they could have got him out of there as a Dolton trustee. And I do understand why they did not, because they didn't want to give Henyard a chance to do anything stupid. But now it's time to move in on his ass. So let's go.
as well as these gentlemen here too. And the same reason they're out here is one of the men actually to make sure that the video is put out, the video is shown not only to the family, but also to the public, and everybody can just let the chips fall where they lay if anything wrong happens. So, you know, just as you can see the gentleman, my buddy right here, has demanded the Laquan McDonough video, in which he was successful. Same thing, same things. Just want justice served, and the mother, it ain't gonna go nowhere. She's gonna be hurt the rest of her life. But at the same time, she just want to know what happened.
And secondly, the mother was aware that you had looking at the video. Explain that again.
Yeah, I called the mother and let her know that I have seen this video. I gave her bits and pieces about it, and she's going to be looking at the video too at the same time.
And this is crazy. Listen to this. He says he saw the video before the mother, and then he went and told her bits and pieces. And that's not how an investigation goes. That's not how it goes. If it did went like that, then we need to think about what ties do Andrew Holmes actually have, and we're going to get into that today.
The main thing is to make sure that that family, that mother, sees the last steps of her daughter from A to Z without anything being altered, and that's what we wanted. Jedidiah wanted. We'll want it. It's just we don't want to go into this. This video was altered or anything. So, but my judgment is still intact.
Andrew, you mentioned two doors connected to the freezer. Are you saying there were double doors leading into the freezer?
You got a big freezer right here. You got a door. When you open up that door to that freezer, you got another freezer inside of there, which is a half step to your left. You pull that door, when you let go of this door, that door closes behind you. And you step into that one, then that one closes.
That's where she was found?
She was found inside of that one.
Did I hear you describe earlier on a Facebook Live video that you actually had the chance to go in that freezer?
Yeah, I went in the freezer.
So can you describe, first of all, how did you get access to that freezer and what it was like?
Well, we walked in the freezer. They walked me down. I walked her whole steps. And I walked to that freezer, opened up the door. That freezer door closed. Opened up the other door. That freezer door closed. And it was hot as hell in both of the freezers. And dark as hell in the freezers, too. And there is a safety knob, like you asked about a knob or something, but you can touch it and that door would come open. So what I did is I asked them to, in the investigation, let's make sure you took pictures and recorded that door was working properly. But besides that, you know, it was an uncaused accident that should have never happened.
Now, did you hear what he said? I hope you guys didn't get shucking jobs in the middle of Andrew Holmes' old school bullshit. He literally described how the freezer worked. We're not going to make this about the Kenneka investigation because, you know, we could go down a Yellow Brick Road about that. But we all know about those big freezers. I worked inside of a McDonald's at one point. There isn't a button that you push in the inside to come out. He acknowledged that it was a button inside of the freezer, which is like totally crazy at this point, because then he said, yeah, it was an unfortunate incident and just literally just jumped ship. So let's just listen to the tomfoolery coming out of this man's mouth. And yeah, and he allegedly was representing the family and he was a private investigator. This is something that we, the people, need to ensure that he was not lying about.
And the door should have been secured and locked because she had to hit that door right there. She turned around and went back the other way because she was trying to get indoors while she was trying to find a way to get out. I believe she was trying to get back upstairs.
Is your understanding that the freezer was on or off?
That information, I don't know. That had to come out in the report. I didn't know when I went in there yesterday, the freezer was hot as hell. So it gives me to understand that it wasn't working, and at the same time, that area where she was at, it's not even you.
Now he says it wasn't working. So we're going to start right there. I know you guys is just watching. I'm going to mute. Y'all just watch Jedidiah face. Yeah. something was wrong. So we're going to stop right there. And this is where the bad blood started. I made a little video about that, where the beef started, but this is a little bit more detail. So shortly after that, Jedidiah made this video. So I got to be able to catch it in the shorts. So hopefully you guys will be able to, oh, this wasn't the one that was the shorts. It says activist Andrew Holmes did not have permission to view surveillance video footage from Kenneka Jenkins. Oh, Kenneka Jenkins. So I think this is when things started to unravel with these two. You know, Jedidiah is sensitive about his shit. So this right here, this when the tables turn.
Hey family, it's Jedidiah. Do me a favor. So mama actually came out, physically came out right here. Mama's out here with us. I'm gonna ask her if she'll say something in a second. But what was done today was nothing short of deceptive, and it was designed to diffuse the momentum of our people coming out here demanding justice for this baby. And so I'm so mad right now because you all saw me on the press conference I should have never been in. And I just apologize to this mother because you all were coming and you should have been able to come. But now we know for sure by mama's account that Andrew Holmes, in fact, lied. He never had the permission of the family to see no takes or talk to the community about what was going to take. And every activist who said that they were a representative to this family has lied. It was never true. This family has never had a representative, and this family never said stop marching because, in fact, they don't have a scheduled time to see the tapes. They had to secure a lawyer for themselves, and they don't have the answers, and it doesn't add up. So the mama and the family was never okay with the narrative. They don't even believe that the daughter walked into a freezer.
This is so hurtful to rewatch again, but some of the things, like he was saying, that they were having trouble viewing the surveillance video, and all of a sudden he came out, was able to see it, and he called Ms. Martin and said, hey, could you kind of tell the protesters to don't slow down because they are affecting the person's business? And that's what protests is supposed to do. So is Andrew Holmes for the people or for that company? Now, I'm going to throw a little bit of allegedly out there before I let Jedidiah finish off his, going in, because he deserved to, especially because of this situation. But the hotel was Rosemont Hotel. That hotel was allegedly in the streets. Now, I'm going to say allegedly connected to sex trafficking, allegedly connected to prostitution and gangbanging, allegedly. Yeah. Also, allegedly, okay, and this is information. That's why I'm saying allegedly, because this was verified, I think, in the past. But right now, because I don't have it in front of me, I'm saying allegedly. When it comes to this, Rosemont Hotel is connected to the funeral home that was selling body parts and organs and things like that. And that made Chicago news. And that was Rosemont Funeral Home. So I'm going to just take a whole glass of shut the hell up, when it comes to that, because why would you want to even talk up for an organization that may have connections like that? And how did you get in to see the video? Do you know somebody? Do you know those people? So that owner was said to be owner of both of those organizations that I just said, allegedly organ harvesting. And I'm just going to say this. I was talking to my conspiracy mind to my favorite president. And when I talked about when I went on the deep end and I was like, yeah, and alleged organ harvesting and the police was kidnapping people, she wasn't surprised. She kind of knew something of it. We didn't speak in detail, but it didn't say, oh my God, it was not a surprise, guys. And you who live in Chicago know what I'm talking about. So let's let Jedidiah finish this. But yeah, get a little deep.
They don't believe that. And so what I said earlier was wrong. They never accepted it, and we don't accept it. So I'm on here to get this right. I apologize again to this family. I apologize to the city of Chicago. I apologize to Kenneka. And now let's make it right. The mother said, tune into her live feed tomorrow. Listen to this. Anybody's plans to do any action is canceled. I'll strengthen what mama said. Nobody doing nothing unless mama tell us what to do. So she's going to get on her Facebook live feed tomorrow, and she's going to tell us how to move. So I'm not representing them. Jamal not representing them. Andrew Holmes fucking show ain't representing them. Nobody's representing them. They're gonna represent themselves, and they got an attorney. And so go on Mama's feed.
All right. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to keep this on the screen because the next video is I'm going to leave that video in the link for you guys because I'm going to always share my link and my sources. But it was sideways the way that the person read off their facts. But I want you guys to listen closely to some of the information that this person, and I'm going to call her a little mini investigator. So let's listen to this mini investigator report on what she found out about Andrew Holmes, his past. It kind of put it in order for everybody in perspectives, and I think it's something good for us to listen to. So let's play it.
And we're going to go back and see if I can, I'm going to go back and see if I can actually trace the money if there was any made off of her case. I have caught the scams though concerning some other people. Okay. He became a Dolton trustee. He said for 3 years. Actually, he got elected in 2019 under Dolton, Illinois. He's listed as a crisis responder, and that is actually mental health, and that's under Chicago survivors, listed as his employee. He does have an Andrew Holmes Foundation. Okay. He did not work for Total Protection Consultants, Inc. He is not the president of this place. Carlos Rodriguez is actually the president. And this is where the scam starts. Also, it can't be verified whether he actually worked for Terry Peterson or Milton Patterson. And this was way before. We're talking about early, 2004, 2009. And so his foundation is listed as a 501c3. There's all that information you need. His address is in. There's the file, the date. Pay attention to the date. 2/28/18. This was after Kenneka Jenkins. Okay. He got an award from the FBI, listing him as member and president of Operation Restoring. And then when you look this up, this is actually the charity part of right here, Total Protection Consultants, Inc. Okay, it's an investigative detective agency. And like I said, Carlos Rodriguez, if you bring up their page, it's the same people. For Operation Restoring, it does deal with human and sex trafficking. No surprise, it's connecting up to this. Tons of it happened in the community.
Let's stop, because she kind of, I'm putting it a little bit faster so we could get through the 10 minutes. She's breaking down the facts about what she found a couple of years ago. But he's connected to the FBI. You know, in the last video we did about him a couple of months ago, we showed him getting an award. Everything I could find was just so good about him. But I did not know that he was the president. He was the president of the operations for, I guess, restoration. And I thought it was just related to gang and task force unit type of things, but it was related to sex trafficking. It's so weird because Dolton, I know y'all ready for my older women. This is what it is, that they say that a lot of the sex trafficking is being hidden through certain agencies. And I'm going to just take a whole glass of shut up and we're going to move forward. Okay, I have an interesting story to share with you guys later on this month about a case that took place in North Carolina years ago that literally connected to a prison and drug trafficking and a whole lot of other stuff and a woman dying. But we're going to talk about that later on. And that was a real story. So Just keep this in mind because everybody's like, and I'm gonna call it out because I'm never scared. I say it all the time. FBI, come and do something. But this man, is he still the president of this organization? Did they condemn him? Did they separate themselves from him? This is the second sexual allegation lawsuit that we're going to talk about today against him. So it's just very disheartening and confusing for me. And that's why I love freedom of speech. That's why y'all like this platform. FBI, because I'll be calling y'all for help. But how you going to help us when you're in the bed with this guy before and possibly now? Possibly. Let's play it.
Kenneka Jenkins cases. Now, a lot of people know about the Kenneka Jenkins case. They also know about Quisola Mims, which actually hell of a chick found. Oh,
Miss Mims. We're going to show a briefing of Miss Mims. Now, I can't put any connections with him. The only connection that we do have is that he advocated for the family. Miss Mims was a young lady who was found unalive with her head decapitated. This is really sensitive and hard information. I did warn you guys earlier. It gets deep. And they found her head in the lake. We're going to go through it. And he was representing the family, allegedly. Mm-hmm.
Shout out to her for that. Hell of a chick found. So shout out to her for that. But there was another case also, which everybody missed. And here it is. Right here. Vasudeva Keith Reddy. He was a landlord in Chicago, Englewood. The two guys that actually killed him were Tony Green and Elijah Green.
Now, I'm going to stop here because she went into another situation that involved Andrew Holmes and some type of connections. And I'm going to leave that in the description for you guys who want to deep dive on a little bit more about these names, okay, because it's going to take you down the yellow brick road. But I did want to highlight, her talking about, him being part of the organization. Some of the key information that we do need to pay attention to, his positions. We know he was a crisis responder, his election in 2019, him allegedly being an investigator. So if he had an investigative company, my question is, did you have license? And if you didn't have license, who allowed you to continue to practice like that? But you know how it is down in Chicago. Now let's play this one. This was another interesting video that I came upon, who was Andrew Holmes, and they did their deep diving. And this went into more detail about the FBI connection. So I'm going to just let this play out without me saying anything and let her do the talking, because I found it very interesting. It really saved me the time that I didn't have to go in and pull this up. They did a great job. So let's play this.
So I'm going to start here. This video is from the FBI.gov website, and I'm going to just play it.
I got that call that night, and I was headed there, but I got just about on the highway when they told me she didn't make it. So I know what these fans are going through. At one point, I'm out there just to help them. But when it hits your doorstep, you understand why you're really helping them. But not until the end. You can do all the work you want to do out here and help people and try to stop this fight and try to engage them with all law enforcement agency. You only know that feeling. But until it hits your doorstep, then you understand the full effects of it. So, yeah, I do. So, but, we just keep working, picking at it and asking people to engage all law enforcement agencies across the United States just to help them. I mean, we can bring this gun violence down to zero. It's just a matter of people. If you see something, say something. Even if it's your own family.
This is also from the FBI website. It says Chicago Andrew Holmes, 2016 Directors Community Leadership Award recipient. That's a picture of Mr. Holmes on the right. It reads, the Chicago Division honors Andrew Holmes, a community activist in Chicago's Englewood neighborhood. Mr. Holmes is an executive board member and president of Operation Restoring Innocence and has participated in numerous community marches against guns and gun violence, as well as gun buyback collection programs sponsored by community churches and organizations in the city and surrounding suburbs. He regularly speaks at schools and churches about gun violence and mentors children to show them that there is a better life. Again, from the FBI website. This is from January 31st, 2017. FBI honors community activist Andrew Holmes for his work to help fight violent crime. The FBI Chicago Field Office presented community activist Andrew Holmes with the 2016 FBI Director's Community Leadership Award, DECLA, which I just showed you that article. He was selected by the Chicago Field Office for his dedication and leadership in local communities, which has helped law enforcement fight violent crime throughout the Chicago area and Northwest Indiana. Mr. Holmes is often seen on the streets of many Chicago neighborhoods, working as a rapid responder to help generate tips and leads, working with law enforcement and circulating community alerts in an effort to locate victims of human trafficking. He's the president of Operation Restoring Innocence and a 2014 FBI Chicago Citizens Academy graduate. Mr. Holmes' tireless efforts have made him a valuable resource for law enforcement as it works to combat the violence plaguing the Chicago area, said Michael J. Anderson, special agent in charge of the FBI Chicago Field Office. He presented Mr. Holmes with the 2016 DECLA today during a lunchtime ceremony. This spring, Mr. Holmes will join the DECLA recipients selected by other FBI field offices across the nation at an awards ceremony to be held in Washington, D.C., where he will be personally recognized and honored by FBI Director James B. Comey. The DECLA Award was established in 1990 as a way to honor individuals and organizations for their efforts to prevent crime, terrorism, drugs, and violence, and to further law enforcement efforts in their communities. There's another picture of Mr. Holmes. This article is from this year. It's titled, His Daughter's Murder Nearly Ended Andrew Holmes' Crusade Against Gun Violence, but 5 years later, he's still at it. I get out there and do what's on my heart. From March the 4th of this year. That's a picture of Mr. Holmes. When Andrew Holmes appears on the scene after an area shooting has claimed yet another victim, he can speak from his heart to the grieving friends and relatives left behind. He is the well-known community activist frequently seen on local TV news advocating for victims of gun violence and pleading for justice. People want safe neighborhoods, said Holmes, 60 of Dolton. That's what I'm aiming to do. The north side shouldn't be any better than the west side or the south side. Kids should be able to feel safe in the summer, and everybody should be able to enjoy life every day. But when his own daughter was shot and killed in 2015, he considered giving up his work for victims. When you lose anybody to violence, it's an unexplainable feeling, Holmes said. People tell you it's going to be all right, but it's not going to be all right. And people tell you she's in a better place. Well, her better place is with me. His daughter.
I just want to highlight, when did Holmes get so cold? Because after this, we're going to fast forward when he stares Fenia in the face with no regards. But he was allegedly so concerned about gun violence, sex trafficking, and so much more. But I just want to throw that out there because it's, we're going to show the real Andrew Holmes. What happened to make him turn? Is he someone who has been allegedly doing so much dirt and it's been covered up that now he's a monster like Henyard? What makes him turn on his brother but don't turn on Henyard? Is it just the money? Let's keep playing.
Daughter 32-year-old Tamara Sword, a mother of 5, was apparently caught in a crossfire at an Indianapolis gas station. 2 people were arrested in connection with her murder. Holmes said Tamara had helped him on occasion reach out to victims of gun violence, talk with neighbors, try to find witnesses, and pass out flyers. I said, I'm done, he told himself after her death. I didn't want to do anything. But after much prayer, he realized being a crisis responder was his calling. Holmes, who is the father of 5 other children, said he understands what a parent goes through after they've lost a child. He said he understands the anguish a parent goes through when they see their child on a TV monitor at the medical examiner's office, but they're not allowed to touch them. All they want to do is just hold their baby, Holmes said. People don't understand that. Residents in neighborhoods where gun violence has become prevalent have come to trust him as he acts as a liaison to police. I do know that witnesses and people with information have come forward as a result of his efforts to help solve cases, said Hazel Crest Police Chief Mitchell Davis. There's a picture of Mr. Holmes talking to NBC Chicago. Calumet City Police Chief Christopher Fletcher said he's known Holmes for more than 15 years, dating back to when Fletcher worked for the Chicago Police Department. Fletcher said Holmes has consistently assisted him through the years in bringing attention to police efforts in major cases. I get out there and do what's on my heart, Holmes said. He said it's important for people to come forward if they know something about a crime, but he believes police need to do a much better job of protecting witnesses. Holmes also lays some blame with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. He said he knows of recent cases in which a man in custody on gun charges had been released only to commit another crime. Besides working as a crisis responder, Holmes holds an affection for taking care of the area's senior citizens. His advocacy started in the mid-1990s when he worked as an aide to Chicago Alderman Terry Peterson, who had mentored him in community activism.
You guys know these people names better than me, so I want you guys to take notes of his connections, okay, guys? Yeah, we're going to definitely be on this for a while because Andrew Holmes and a whole bunch of other things in Dolton still needs to be addressed. Let's go.
Shortly after, Holmes also worked for Illinois State Representative Milton Patterson, who wanted him to pay special attention to senior citizens in the district. While doing that, Holmes said he found many elderly residents were too often the victims of crime and abuse. Feeling empathetic and developing some detective skills, Holmes started helping police solve cases in which senior citizens were the victims of crimes. He had continued his service by delivering roses to senior citizens in nursing homes on Mother's Day and baseball caps to men on Father's Day.
That's when he started to build up for his campaign. That's how they do when they try to go fish for them votes, okay?
Holmes noticed that many of the residents were 100 years old or older, and many had no family members left who would visit them. So 7 years ago, he started Club 100, in which he organizes a banquet and party for area centenarians. Holmes also honors 99-year-olds at the party after a couple residents of that age 1 year expressed he should do so because they were worried they might not make it to the next year. Bless their hearts. The day in mid-May includes a limo ride for every resident to the red carpet venue at the Salvation Army building in Chicago. Holmes' 87-year-old mother cooks some of the food for the centenarians' banquet. After dining, the residents are treated to entertainment from impersonators of Michael Jackson, Jackie Wilson, James Brown, and a comical character called Old Man Willie. Holmes said some of the seniors even dance, and they all receive gifts donated by vendors. He pays for the event through his foundation, but some of the money comes from his own pocket. Holmes said people often ask to donate money to him directly, but he asked them to go to any Chase Bank and ask to donate to the Andrew Holmes Foundation so that he can maintain a paper trail. He stays very busy working on other projects as well, such as at a recent event, Madison, where he lectured about the dangers of human trafficking to a crowd of about 300 people. Also, on a cold day every winter since the Mayor Daley administration, Holmes sleeps outside Chicago City Hall with a blanket to demonstrate the need for warm shelter for the city's homeless people. He sometimes works with church groups and leaders such as the Reverend Michael Flager, but said he prefers to do his own advocacy in his own way. Holmes said, though he's employed as a crisis worker for Chicago survivors, he's on nobody's payroll for the additional work he does with seniors and advocating for the homeless. He just wants to help people.
And you know that's a lie because this article was November 2020.
He grew up in Chicago's Inglewood area as well as in Montgomery, Alabama, and has lived for 3 years in Dolton, where he recently was elected as village trustee.
So I know I heard someone said he doesn't live in Dolton, but you know what they do? They get properties out different places and establish residency. So yeah, we may visit this later on because there's a lot to unpack with these people out there.
He said he hopes to create job training programs there. I like to see people happy and help them keep a smile on their face, Holmes said. But it's not just my voice. Your voice is just as strong as mine. It's all about working together. So I followed the link and went over to the chicagosurvivors.org website. It says Chicago survivors provide multicultural crime victim services to family members of Chicago homicide victims. It says our services are free and open to all families who have lost a loved one to violence. Our crisis response and family support services are available in English and Spanish, and we will also provide in-time telephone translation of our services into over 200 languages. Our services include immediate crisis response services and accompaniment, family support services, supportive counseling, youth services, case management and referrals, criminal justice advocacy, and community of survivors. They have a crisis helpline. It says helping families live beyond violent loss. They have an address there in Chicago. Follow the How We Help page. It says How Chicago Survivors Helps. Crime Victim Rights Education and Protection. Crime victims, including immediate relatives of homicide victims, have legal rights in Illinois law and the state constitution. Chicago Survivors protects the right of vulnerable family members encountering numerous unfamiliar systems in the aftermath of homicide, whether in funeral planning, dealing with media attention, the criminal investigation, filing for crime victims' compensation, safety concerns, accompaniment, and advocacy in the courts.
Let's press pause here because I ended the other video a little bit early, but we may revisit that, or you guys get the chance to click into that video and watch the full video of the one where the paper was sideways. The gentleman that got killed, those people who she was about to name, that story leads to allegedly Andrew Holmes being a crime victim advocate, filing for compensation for them and receiving up to $8,000 for those victims. So I can show you that, or you guys can go back down and watch it. Let's finish. Listen, we're almost gonna get to it. But when she said that, it made me remember what was towards the end of that video, because I was like, the lady kind of went in on the situation about the two young men in their situation, but it led to Andrew Holmes advocating for them and collecting about $8,000 that the family may not have gotten, allegedly. Moving forward.
Liaison and mediation with police. Every crime victim has the right to be treated with dignity and respect by law enforcement. Chicago Survivors advocates for families where any disrespect is alleged, where communications have broken down, where a formal complaint needs to be filed. Chicago Survivors, also advocates for change in police protocols that negatively impact families after homicide and trains law enforcement and prosecutors in the needs and expectations of families. Retaliation, prevention, and safety planning. The harsh reality of threats and intimidation of families following homicide necessitates both safety planning and retaliation prevention. Most retaliations are.
And the reason why we're highlighting this, because the solution that we're going to talk about in the end, just to get him removed real fast, it should entail all of these things that he have done. This is what he stands up for, allegedly, to stop retaliations against victims and family members. And what happened to, we at least know, Fenia, why she was so quiet for so long. Something was going on, some cover up, some intimidation, and he was part of that as well. Okay, or had a foot in it. But allegedly, he stands against that. So everything that he says that he stands for, he showed in the cases that's coming up, and that it is completely opposite. Andrew Holmes is a fraud. He is a deviant, and he should not have any place nowhere in Dolton. Even looking at his face, you see that he is full of the devil. But I'm going to keep going.
Are carried out by persons outside the family. However, families are often made aware of volatile community dynamics. Chicago Survivors has created an interactive safety plan to help families assess and limit risk, and a retaliation assessment tool and prevention strategy for use with family members. They also provide psychoeducation and coping skills, practical needs and advocacy, return to work and to school. And again, it's free and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All right. Now, it has an about the program section. It says CS, they're calling it CS.
So,
offers crime victim and support services to surviving family members of Chicago homicide victims.
This is
free, voluntary.
Went into the website a lot. I'm going to get to the end where she talks about a remembrance of everything that he does. This is about Andrew Holmes right here.
Sum up who Mr. Andrew Holmes is. First of all, he's a father. Second of all, he's a parent of a murdered child. And it's, no matter how old she was, that's still his child. So that puts him in a different class. That is a separate group all by itself. He's a graduate of the FBI.
And I will say that if he's a parent of a murdered child, he have never once said Alexa's name, not one time, for him to be a parent of a murdered child. But I concede.
Citizens Academy. He's a community activist, and he also is a mentor.
Oh, wait. Listen, y'all. I talked over that.
That is a separate group all by itself.
Listen.
He's a graduate of the FBI Citizens Academy.
What is the FBI Citizens Academy, y'all? That's why I said we got to have a part 2. Or I want to say that, in honor and respect for INA, what they're doing, go check this out. Go check this out right here and put some pressure if he's still connected to these motherfuckers, because he got to go.
He's a community activist, and he also is a mentor, and he acts as a liaison between the community and the police departments, law enforcement in general.
Not no more.
He's the executive board member and president of Operation Restoring Innocence.
And that's what we need to know about. Is that the nonprofit that he lost his job, or it was another one where he was the crisis worker? Y'all confirm with me.
Which I showed on this video. He's a crisis worker through Chicago Survivors. He tends to focus on senior citizens, guns, gun violence, human trafficking, and sex trafficking.
And we're going to stop right there. So what I thought he was fired from is the crisis survivors. But is he still the president of that organization for the FBI? Now, just listen to this. This is where she talks about the $8,000. So y'all won't think that I just made that up, because I didn't let y'all listen to the end. But let's just play this real quick.
In 5 years. So I don't buy all this crap with this guy. I never did. Something just didn't feel right. Oh, he also has an alias, Andrew Holmes, Homes.
So he's using alias. She's trying to highlight that she found names under HOMES. So y'all guys look for records under that name too.
Being he worked, I don't want to show you something. Supposedly he worked as an aide for these people. I can't verify that, but I did do some background check on them. Now, Milton Patterson, he's the Illinois state rep. He worked for the Appropriations, Public Safety. Okay, what's his corporation listed for? Public Society Benefit and Public Safety. Housing and Urban Development. And we know this actually connects back to the employees back at the Crown Plaza.
Oh, wait. I fast forwarded past the $8,000. This was more of the mess where she talks about the connection to the employees of the Crown Plaza. Do y'all want to hear all this real quick? Can I just go back just a little bit where I stopped so we could hear because it's only about 4 more minutes. So I should have the patience for it. And you guys too. I think because when she started talking about the other guys, I was like, okay, but it's a reason why. And then she goes into the Crown Plaza as well. Let me just let this play out and shut up real quick.
Address as 14709 State, Dolton, Illinois, 60419.
Information educational purposes only.
Let's see addresses of the other two. There's only 3 people to this whole party. They're all in Dolton. What I really think what's going on is he knows the people who are murdering these people. This is what I think. This is my belief from what I am seeing. He lied about a lot of things. One minute he's saying he went in and became anti-gun. He's an anti-gun activist. But none of these people were killed by a gun. None of them. Not Kenneka Jenkins. Not Quisola Mims, who was decapitated. And not Vasudeva Keith Reddy. Strangled. Yeah. And he also says that he has lost 2 children in 5 years. So I don't buy all this crap with this guy. I never did. Something just didn't feel right. Oh, he also has an alias, Andrew Holmes, Homes. Being he worked, I don't want to show you something. Supposedly he worked as an aide for these people. I can't verify that, but I did do some background check on them. Now, Milton Patterson, he's the Illinois state rep. He worked for the Appropriations, Public Safety. Okay, what's his corporation listed for? Public Society Benefit and Public Safety. Housing and Urban Development. And we know this actually connects back to the employees back at the Crown Plaza. UNC, UNC, Fed, FED 2. You can find it on his website. Shout out to him.
Do apologize. The people who don't know why he's under fire, we're going to put it on the screen and just give a little short update on what's actually going on. Thank you for being here with Grace Levi. I hope you like the information that I'm providing. You guys can take this information and run with it, because the goal is to get his ass to unseat that seat. Yeah.
This responder helping victims of gun violence, Andrew Holmes has also served for several years as a trustee in the village of Dolton. Holmes is now named in a civil lawsuit filed Monday by a Dolton police officer and former member of Mayor Tiffany Henyard's security detail, as well as a former village employee who believes she was sexually assaulted by Holmes. We are withholding her identity because of the nature of the allegation, which are now, according to 4 Dolton trustees, part of what former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot will take on in her new job as special investigator into Mayor Henyard's tenure.
She will be looking at it in a civil manner to give the board an idea. This is not a criminal matter that she's looking at it from that perspective.
The complaint says the alleged incident took place during a trip to Las Vegas in May of last year that included Henyard along with various employees from the village and Thornton Township. It was during the last evening of that trip that the complaint alleges police officer Byron Miles received a phone call from Holmes, who began describing a host of his exploits from the trip, many of a sexual nature. And there was some suggestion that she may not have had the ability to consent and or did not provide consent. It is at this point that, according to the complaint, Officer Miles began to record the call, which eventually switched over to FaceTime. Trustee Holmes then panned the camera toward a bed where Officer Miles could see a woman who was partially undressed. The complaint goes on to say that the following day, when the woman in question woke up, she found she was in Trustee Holmes' hotel room, fully dressed. She was embarrassed as she believed she had blacked out. However, it was not, according to the complaint, until their return to Dolton that Officer Miles, suspecting that the alleged victim was not aware of what had transpired, went to her with what he knew. The lawsuit alleges that at a later meeting with the mayor, Henyard stated if that information got out, Henyard would be ruined and all of the work she had done would be lost. According to the lawsuit, within weeks, the alleged victim was out of a job and Officer Miles removed from the mayor's security detail. The lawsuit asserts claims against Henyard for retaliation. While our calls to Andrew Holmes have gone unanswered today, a spokesperson for Tiffany Henyard said they are cooperating, but would not comment on an ongoing investigation. They did, however, point us to a statement issued a few weeks ago before Holmes was specifically named, saying that the village of Dolton previously conducted their own investigation into the matter. Former police officer Miles was interviewed and denied knowing anything about these allegations. Also, despite numerous attempts by the village's independent investigators to contact the employee, she refused to give a statement or cooperate with our investigation. Unfortunately, this is nothing more than 2 disgruntled village employees who are trying to make off with the taxpayers' hard-earned dollars. No criminal charges have been filed against Andrew Holmes, but Las Vegas police do confirm that they have an open investigation into the claims.
So now we're going to bring everybody up to date in which you do know what the Los Angeles police decided to do or what not to do, and what the people have to do now. Handle business.
Police in Las Vegas have closed their investigation of Dolton Village trustee Andrew Holmes, and no charges will be filed. Holmes was accused of sexually assaulting a former Dolton employee during a village-funded trip to Las Vegas last year. Along with his work as a trustee, Holmes also a well-known victims advocate. The woman publicly made her accusations in a video and appeared at a Dolton Village meeting earlier this year. She's currently suing the village and Holmes, saying she was fired after taking her sexual assault allegations to embattled village mayor Tiffany Henyard. We've reached out to her and Holmes for comment to that decision by Las Vegas police to close the case.
Watch breaking news on YouTube.
Right,
Subscribe.
So where we're at right now is that the people are still calling for justice to this day. So we're going to do a little flashback to a heated moment where Jedidiah said, if you ain't answering me, you gonna give me some answers. And he actually sacrificed his freedom. So this was a little flashback. Let's watch this moment together.
Notice that my good fellow advocate Andrew Holmes is in the building. And that's why literally I wish that I would have looked up before I read the statement, because as it relates to you, you're the reason that I'm here.
Oh, a village board meeting ends in a near confrontation in Dolton overnight. Here's what happened. Okay, several Dolton residents took to the podium to voice their frustrations with the lack of transparency surrounding Dolton's finances. Things are relatively calm, as you can see here. That is until activist Jedidiah Brown came to the mic for a second time. He directly addressed Dolton trustee and well-known victims advocate Andrew Holmes. Holmes has been accused of sexually assaulting a former village employee, and Brown demanded answers.
You could have at least declared your innocence, which noted you haven't done. And so I'm simply asking you right now, because me sitting here looking at your face, I'm utterly disgusted. Because how dare you take your back outside and stand with any family when there's a woman with a child that's waiting on a response from you. Literally, as an elected official and as an advocate about what you did. Was it consensual? Was it not? Did you rape that woman? Did you put something in her drink? And you're going to answer, and you're going to answer me. Promise you that.
You can see here what followed. Brown then began to directly approach Holmes, who actually came around the board's desk to meet Brown before he was quickly surrounded and taken away by police. Holmes.
And I like the fact that at least they told the truth, that he went around to meet Jedidiah, and he didn't add the fact that, you know, he summons to say, come on, bring it on, being arrogant, disgusting, horrendous, knowing that he had these allegations. He can't just sit there, and I'm not going to call them allegations, and he can't just sit there and shut the hell up. So why we're showing you this is because this is a fight that still continues. A few meetings ago, we had Fenia and other residents go to the podium and confront Andrew Holmes, because one of the things that we're going to talk about at the end of this is his position as trustee and what he has done and what he has not done. And one of the things, he has not been showing up. But then when he showed up, he got that work. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Look, I'm about to get it.
But you don't even have a sense to even look in our face. But you rather just steal our money and do what you want to do. It's a shame. The lawyers is looking at us, but you the mayor, and then you want to come up here. Well, I am the mayor. Yeah, we know, but you're not conducting yourself as a mayor.
All right, your 3 minutes
You're
up.
not
Thank
conducting yourself.
Your 3
and
minutes
you
up.
are going to
Your
jail.
3 minutes is up. Thank you so much. Is there anybody else? Is there anyone else? Your 3 minutes up. All right, go ahead. You have the floor.
I want to start by saying there's nobody like the God I serve. And I only want to say that because he only allowed me to come as far as this podium. That's the only person I fear and thing I fear besides going to jail. So I'm not going to go past him like he told me. but I only came up to here to say because Las Vegas said what they said, because a lot of places say what they say when they say things like this. So I'm gonna ask you myself, why would you do that? And if I'm lying, all these people right here on the cameras heard, all these people tell them I'm lying. Is that why you've never said anything? Is that why you disappeared as soon as this came out? Is that why? I'm supposed to be scared of you? Hell motherfucking no.
I know that's right.
So tell me I'm lying, or tell them why.
And he sat there and said nothing. That went through my body watching that. I'm going to leave that clip for you guys, okay, so you can finish watch it. So where we're at in the broadcast, I want to first and foremost say thank you for being here with Grace Lee. I'm going to put myself on the screen. I am here. I am here. We're going to get to what we came here for. The new case. It is Aisha Gank. So as you know, guys, I have some issue getting case information, so I did my best. So what we did was take pictures of the filing of the actual first complaint, and then as we move on, because I am getting support from the audience, and I will pray by next month I could get access to certain platforms that I can get full case information without having to do things like what we're going to do today. But I do want to address some things before we move on. I know someone was talking about having like a forum to talk about SA. I would love to do that. I do want to say if we have something like that, it has to be, censored to a certain extent, because I know when we get to talk about that, it can become very hard to for other people to digest, especially when it becomes vulgar, when we want to express what we have went through. So with that goes to say, I would love to do that. And I was listening to some of the men in the comments where they were saying, it's hard for women who have been in this situation to actually talk up for themselves. It's many factors of why, and we'll go into that. So if you are interested, I want you guys to email me. My information will be at the bottom, and we could set something up to talk about that, because we do have some up and coming videos highlighting health and wellness and mental health, because we're going to keep on growing here. We all got some things we need to heal from. And I'm going to tell you now, we all still healing from monsters like Andrew Holmes. So he didn't stop. Allegedly, he didn't stop. We're going to put this on the screen. What I was able to do was take screenshots of the actual case. So it's only 7 pages. So I wanted you guys to get just a deep dive on Andrew Holmes. We could just revisiting who this man possibly is, his weird and strange background. And as you heard us say, first you were there for sexual assault victims, and all of a sudden you're dealing with stories that highlights victims who decapitation, not involving wrongful death with shooting like he was supposed to, according to his certificate, dealing with it's just all weird. And what I am kind of thinking was coming to me, like I see some of you coming to the conclusion that he may be a deterrent for high volume cases, but this time he is the high volume case. And someone in the audience, because I know there's a lot of comments and I don't want to slow down the broadcast, we're going to get to the best comments at the end, but I know one of you guys has said they possibly have a hard time charging him with these things as far as the FBI, because if he is an informant, what happens with that, and this is all allegedly, but with the situation with informants, usually those informants have some dirt on them before they come informants, and they give a little to get a little. So when they give a little, the officers still hold the fact of what they did at bay and say, hey, we got this on you. We need a little bit more. And then if you got someone who's a monster and who's been emboldened in the government, had positions that can cover allegedly what he's doing, it makes someone like that becomes deviant. So this is what I'm seeing with Andrew Holmes. And to highlight this, I hope that more women come out and tell what has happened. So let's get it on the screen. Hold on. Excuse me, y'all. We're out in the broadcast and I'm doing great. It was a whole hour. I did not call. God be the glory. He is healing me. We'll talk about that on Nurses to Nurses News Network. All right. So here is Aisha Gant versus Andrew Holmes and Morris Security Corporation. This was filed 1/30/2025. And it says Aisha Gant is the plaintiff through the unassigned counsel. So it has a counsel. This is talking about the jurisdiction. So I'm going to take that off the screen. I just wanted to show you that. And then we're going to get to what has happened. States of facts, the statement of facts. Terrible man. All right, so we're going to hear this is the statement of facts of the new case against Andrew Holmes. And this is dated back from 2014. Now, let's see how this goes. Before I talk. And this is related to what he's supposed to have been an advocate for. Okay? In 2014, plaintiff was an ongoing victim of human sex trafficking and kidnapping. Defendant Holmes, as part of his work for MSC, participated in the operation with other MSC investigators and staff that rescued plaintiff from trafficking and placed her into therapy and treatment. As part of the rescue operation, defendant Holmes gained the trust of the plaintiff and developed what, in the plaintiff view, was a caring and close relationship. Let me make sure y'all can hear me. Okay, great. All right. Please hit the like button. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Okay. This is starting off totally wrong and juicy. Okay. And I did not read it, so you get my raw reaction. I'm going to keep reading. As part of the rescue operation, defendant Holmes gained the trust of plaintiff and developed what the plaintiff viewed as a caring and close relationship. In April 2015, Aisha was staying with her grandmother in her home in Chicago South Side following her return from treatment. Under the spice of checking on Aisha's well-being following her returning from the treatment, defendant Holmes expressed an interest in seeing Aisha, and he set up a visit through Aisha's grandmother. Holmes represented Aisha's mother and grandmother that he was following up on her as part of his work with MSC. After notifying her mother and grandmother, Holmes met Aisha and her grandmother at her grandmother's home and took her for a ride north on Lakeshore Drive, all under the spice of checking up on her well-being and discussing her future as an informant resource for him with MSC. Whoa. Okay. Holmes drove her to the parking lot near Lincoln and Foster Drive, the same Crown Victoria he was using for work with the MSC. Holmes had the same security badge around his neck he used for his work with MSC. Okay, I just want to tell you this. This may be related to the allegation that I heard around the Kenneka Jenkins time, where he was driving around with a girl, taking her to scenes and trying to show off that he was an investigator. He was this big thing, and people were questioning because there was a young girl in the car, and he was allegedly driving other young girls in the car. Whoa. Carrying on. Holmes had the same security badge around his neck he used for his work with MSC. He carried a firearm at that time. Intimidation. And he wore the same leather jacket and dark slacks that he wore on prior occasions when he was involved in rescuing Aisha and working with her as part of his work. So he wore the same clothes with his old dirty self. But highlight that he had a firearm. So whatever happened to her, that firearm played a role in the way she conducted herself around him. Carrying a firearm, and he wore the same clothes. So Aisha was not able to distinguish that Holmes during this visit from the home. She said Aisha was not able to distinguish the Holmes during this visit from the Holmes she previously encountered. Okay, because y'all know his name Holmes, and they're actually talking about houses. They should have said houses. Weird, so they try to figure out where he took her. At all times, Aisha was under the belief that Holmes was visiting her as part of his investigation and security work for MSC. Indeed, the visit resembled prior instincts where she had encountered him. During the ride and in the parking lot near Lincoln and Foster, Holmes asked Aisha general questions about her past, whether she missed working the streets, what her plan was for the future were, and how she was feeling about her life. After getting Aisha into a relaxed state, Holmes offered Aisha marijuana out of the glove compartment. Juicy, juicy. Aisha felt she could not refuse Holmes offering marijuana because he was so insistent, and because the situation reminded her of her past trafficking experience, where she would be where she would do whatever more powerful captors said at part of her feeling of survival. So basically, she was triggered. She had a post-traumatic stress response. I'm just going to listen to him. This is weird. He's a person of authority. This is how he played it. So after using the drug, Aisha became extremely relaxed and recounted feeling disarmed, palatable, and agreeable. In particular, the drug made Aisha feel more palatable than she had ever experienced before. At this time, she wondered if the marijuana had been laced. After further idle chat, Holmes exposed his genital areas to Aisha and indicated with a nod of his head that he wanted her to perform oral on him. If y'all don't think y'all better get him. Aisha felt she had no choice and returned to the same survival state of mind she had during her trafficking experience, where she would simply react without thinking and without emotions in order to protect herself and to survive. Feeling like she had no choice to do that for her survival. Following the assault in the car, Holmes drove the two of them to a diplomat motel at North Lincoln Avenue in Chicago, obtained a room, removed all his clothes, and picked his gun pointedly on top of the panel of his clothes where she could see it. So, obtained the room, removed all his clothes, placed his gun pointedly on top of a panel of his clothing. This is what it's saying, where she could see it, and then he proceeded to R her. All of the foregoing events occurred when Aisha was 16 years old. The count 1 is for sexual battery. Plaintiff versus Holmes. Plaintiff restates everything that we just stated. In Illinois, the element of civil battery are intentional act of part of the defendant resulting in offensive contacts with plaintiff person, lack of consent, defendant conducts. McNeil versus Brewer. This is the law they put in it. They ready to get it. They not even going to need a refiling. At all of time, Holmes initially and without Aisha consent forced her to perform oral on him. At all times, Holmes intentionally and without Aisha consent, R her at the Diplomat Motel. At all times, Aisha was 16 years old and incapable of giving her legal consent to any form of sexual contact. As we stated, this information is very graphic, and this is why I put it at the beginning of the video. At all times, Holmes' conduct toward Aisha was grossly offensive to Aisha. Aisha has suffered actually injuries as a result of Holmes' sexual battery and R-ing upon her in the form of psychological distress, anxiety, fear, anger, sleeplessness, low self-esteem, self-loathingness, and inability to enjoy normal romantic relationships, and relieved of abuse on the regular. Not only did what she went through, that was so traumatizing, those predators, but then you had the person who allegedly saved you, do this. Yeah, people need to unite like Voltron, because yeah, he gotta get it. And a lot of the officers out there need to get it. The public officials who's covering up, who know this, who have an idea about this, maybe they didn't know if it was true. But if you have any type of inkling that something weird like this is going on with somebody on your panel, I wouldn't want to have nothing to do with it. But maybe I'm just bougie like that. You know what I'm saying? Grace a little bit bougie. I'm trying to go to heaven. And if I got to go to hell, I'm going for what I did. Moving forward, count 2. Negligence, retention, and supervision of Andrew Holmes. This is the plaintiff versus MSC. And that's because he used his position to exhort authority over her and to get connections over, because he used that as a ploy. It has long been held that the employee have a duty to act responsibility in hiring and retaining employees. And that's Van Holm versus Miller. Get them. As such, Illinois law allows the claim against companies for negligently hiring, supervision, and retaining of employees. To establish the account for negligent supervision, the plaintiff must show 1, the employee knew or should have known that the employer had particular unfitness for the position so as creating a danger to him and a third party. That's exactly what I just said. And that's on the behalf of the elected officials and the people that work around him. You have a duty. You have an idea something weird like this happened around him. This was a while ago. If I heard this just listening to the Kenneka Jenkins case and a while ago, like brushed through, I know you out there in Southside heard this. And Chicago. No way I'm just lucky enough to put this together. I ain't that good. Moving forward, that such particular unfitness was known or should have been known at the time of the employee hire or retention. This particular unfitness proximately caused the plaintiff injury. Skywalker Outdoor Inc. This was the case that highlighted that versus Van Wagner Comic. All right, Aisha may also recover on the claim of negligence retention, Doe versus Co. Okay, so this, let me see. Because Aisha claimed as based on her injuries from child abuse, her claims against MSC are governed by Illinois' limitation period, accountable to the claims for cases of abuse for children. The law is well established that the limitation period governs a claim and determined by the nature of the plaintiff's injury rather than the nature of the fact which the claim arrives. Ooh. So if she could prove injury, significant injury from loss of work, not being able to function, getting medicines and all types of life-changing things where you can show a pattern of not being able to cope, this is where it supersedes just a statute of limitations of time. This is what it's saying. This is in the clause I'm reading at the bottom. So that's dope. I said they straight puff daddy his ass. They puff daddy Andrew Holmes. I wish I had a picture of Puff Daddy. All right, so let's move forward. It says, holding that because the injury alleges in the fraud count are the same as the alleges in the count governed by the limitation period of acts for damages for personal injury based on childhood sexual abuse. Now, I think that fraud has something to do with him using that company as a scapegoat to get close to her. Okay? Now, y'all still with me, y'all? Because I'm just moving and grooving. Can I put myself in the corner? Oh, snap. I've been just putting myself in timeout. But I wanted y'all to see exactly what I see too. So, all right, let's finish. Thank you for being here and thank you for listening, because this is for the Dolton residents in Chicago. This man got to go. He is of the devil. All right, moving forward. So at this time, Relevant Holmes was employed by MSC. At all times, Aisha was aware that Holmes was an employee of MSC. This is how they put a liability on them, because he had been part of the operation that rescued her from the trafficking and kidnapping the prior year. At that time of their encounter set forth in hearing. So before I move forward, if he can get away with this, with someone he rescued, you think he would not think he can get away with someone he worked with? At all times, Holmes represented his visits to Aisha as being part of a checkup on her well-being. Following her return from the treatment from the kidnapping and trafficking, Holmes held himself out as acting as an employee of MSC while he plied I wonder if that means supply, but it said ply Aisha with marijuana in his vehicle, displayed his genitals to her, instead insisted that she perform on him, and subsequently are her at the Diplomat Hotel on Lincoln Avenue. At all times, Holmes was unfit to be working with minor females as part of his job with MSC, in that he had a provocative, it says provicity, I'm saying it wrong, facility, this is a new nice word to me, to take advantage of young females he encountered in the course of his work, including Aisha. At all times, MSC was aware that Holmes had marked curiosity towards minor women. Woo! That he had fostered close working relationship with minor women. Does that sounds like what we were talking about with the allegations where he was driving around with them showing off? That he was the big dude on the street to 16-year-olds. And after employees of MSC, Carlos Rodriguez had flagged Holmes to MSC president, Sean Morrison. Remember these names because some of the names from the other live, you may have connections to them. Y'all out there in the South, so I'm giving y'all names. Okay, so as an individual who should not be allowed to work with minor women without supervision. So he was flagged to the president by Mr. Rodriguez. And indeed, on information on behalf of MSC at all the times have the policies that its employees are not supposed to meet with victims and clients by themselves. At all times, MS should have known that Holmes was unfit to occupy his position. We're at the last part of it, but that little 7 pages, wow. Now, at all time, MSC tolerance of and willful blindness to Holmes, prosensitivity, please don't kill me for my pronunciation of that, towards minors, women, was a proximal cause of Aisha's injuries. By foregoing conduct, MSC neglected supervising Holmes. By the foregoing conduct, MSC neglected retaining Holmes despite MSC awareness of his potential for harm to young women and victims he would encounter in the course of his work. Aisha was suffering actual injuries as a result of MSC's supervision and retention of Holmes, including Holmes' actual battery and R-ring, psychological distress, anxiety, fear, anger, sleeplessness, low self-esteem, self-looting, and inability to enjoy normal human romantic relationships, and a relief of abuse on a regular and frequent basis. So she deserved to live without that. And this is the basis of the cause. And I will totally agree with all of those statements that we just read, highlighting that this man has connection to the FBI. He was the video still up there. They didn't retract that statement, took him down because there's a video on the FBI website on YouTube that shows them giving him an award. They not one time has a statement been made to say, just on the behalf of this program, Andrew Holmes has no part of it or anything. Now, we're going to start to wrap this up. Now, you know I ain't going to talk a whole lot of stuff without coming up with a little bit of solutions, okay? What I was thinking, because I got to this, not only do y'all continue to do, you know, what people were suggesting, blackball his ass, because before when we was talking about this, I said only way people want to get justice right now, since the elected officials are not moving forward because of that particular reason, that the seat may have been filled by Henyard, the tyrant. Y'all blackball him. Make sure he don't get no work. Y'all work right every organization that he's connected to. We literally told you that. I told you, that lady told you as well. And it's in public information. He's connected to the FBI. And if somebody had a nerve to call the FBI on Jedidiah, you should have had the nerve to call the FBI on Andrew Holmes, the real people who are doing serious damage to the people. So I'm just throwing that out there, but not only bothering them about their friend, Andrew Holmes, but also I found this very interesting. So is he coming up for his seat this year coming up? And because of the risk of, I believe, Tiffany not being able to choose anybody, I do believe that we should take a reflection to this article. We're going to take a reflection back in time, dog. I didn't find this stuff. I don't know how I found this. Let's see if this is relevant to what's going on right now. Dolton trustee may face recall. This is November 2015. Dolton voters may have a chance to recall 3 trustees, something that has happened only one time ever in the recent year of the suburban Chicago politics. Did you know that the trustees could be recalled too? All right. So this who was the trustees? The trustees Stan Brown, Tiffany Henyard, and Robert Hunt Jr. I'm coming for you, Mr. Hunt, with your big booty self. You and Crigley, crime family. Got me scribbling on my paper, fucking with my nerves, because I know, Hunt, you're dirty. So he was actually a trustee at one point. Hunt is quiet. Alleged criminal. Were first elected in April 2013. I'm sorry, y'all know I'm just going to call them out. I ain't scared of them. I ain't scared of nobody. Let's get them, people. The power's in the people. I'm for you guys. So they were hired. These 3 were elected in April 2013, as was Dolton Mayor Riley Rogers. Okay. The struggle. So the political marriage has been rocky from the start, with Rogers and the trustees repeatedly clashing through in signs of how dysfunctional things have become. The 2 sides can't even agree about their disagreements. So this is not new to Dolton. As people mentioned in my last video, they was like, well, this is not new to Dolton when it comes to the police. So why are you bringing it up around election time? Because maybe y'all could get some change done this time. Maybe if y'all stay focused on the facts and present them and put pressure on your new elected officials and the people coming in, we won't have to keep talking about this years down the line. Okay, deja vu. Here we go. So Brown, okay, here we go. So they can't even agree on disagreements. Brown and Henyard says they butted heads with Rogers over municipal government spending, personal matters, and awarding of liquor license. Let me just keep reading. Rogers said it was never about liquor license. He claimed that the trustees have purposely opposed proposals and policies to try to hurt him politically. So as example, he says that the 3 trustees blocked the sale of Dochar, a money-losing senior housing complex that at the time was owned by Dolton taxpayers. Dolton has since sold Dorchester for about $3 million, though Rogers says the village could have sold the property for a higher price 2 years ago. They're working against our best interests, he says. Now, if Rogers has his way, voters in the working class South Suburb will be asked at the March 15th election to decide if Brown, Henyard, and Hunt should keep their jobs. If one or all of them are removed, it will mark only the 2nd time in recent years that the municipal office in suburban Chicago has been recalled, observer says. Lisa Stone, a Buffalo Grove Village Board member, was voted out of office in 2010, aimed complaints that she was disruptive during meetings. Wow, that was petty. Stone denies that was the case. Brown and Henyard says they haven't acted improperly and claim Rogers wants to oust them and Hunt only because of the 3 opposing his policies. He wants complete power, Henyard said about the mayor. In June, Dolton Village Board passed the ordinance. Now, this is what we need to highlight here. Dun, 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 dun. This article will be down there for you guys to reference. In June, Dolton Village Board passed an ordinance allow for the recall of elected officials. So it's not just mayor, it's elected officials if certain criteria are met. The ordinance passed by a 4-3 margin, with Rogers casting the tiebreaker vote. Brown, Henyard, and Hunt voted no. Under the ordinance, if an official is to be recalled, petition first must be signed by 25% of the voters who cast the ballot in Dolton last mayor election. In April 2013, there were about 3,565 votes cast for mayor, according to Cook County. David, under the ordinance, that means that Rogers and his supporters must obtain 891 signatures. Rogers was involved in trying to get, I'm trying to tell y'all. So I will hope whoever mayor coming right on there, you start this ASAP and get this out of there, because y'all are paying him. He's not showing up for meetings. Nobody wants him there. He's of the devil. And yeah, we y'all need to drive him crazy, just the way we drove Perez crazy. No cap. And I'm gonna shut up. Rogers says he's been passing petitions but declined to disclose how many signatures he has gathered. The deadline to file with Oris office is December 14th. So there's more that we need to find out about this, guys. If this is still applicable, and because I haven't done my research, if they can do this to get him out or go file a court order against him like they did where Henyard tried to, where they stopped Henyard from appointing people, and they could get him out, they need to do that. Just spend a little bit of money to get this motherfucker out. We know that he ain't going to show up, but we need to crush him. We need to crush Andrew Holmes. There's many people in Dolton that needs to be crushed like a paper ball, and that's what we're going to do. All right. So this was Rogers working on it. We're close to our goal, Rogers says. If he achieves it, the petition withstands any challenge. Voters at the March 15th election will be asked to decide if Brown, Henyard, and Hunt should keep their jobs. So do you think House could do this as soon as he get in? Because this say March 15th. Sound about election time, because election time coming up. Y'all know I'm an online resident, so I still be learning as I go. But baby, we got to get this motherfucker gone. He's still collecting checks. I don't want nobody to collect more checks off of Dolton. That's why we're going after Officer Carlton next, because he's getting $3,000 every 2 weeks off of workers' compensation after murdering Alexis. We named 5 officers that's still getting paid right now from Dolton that was involved in the Darius Wilson case that we talked about yesterday. They're getting paid for their deviant behaviors, and that's what I don't stand for. That's why I feel the way I do. So Brown, Henyard, and Hunt have asked a judge to repeal the ordinance on the grounds that is unconstitutional, according to the copy of the letter lawsuit filed September 24th in Cook County Circuit Court. A ruling is expected next month. So I didn't get to that, but I wanted to share this article with you guys. I read a big portion of the article so you could get the drift of it. But I think there's some more things that can be done, and it can be pushed by the people and also the elected officials when it comes to this monster. Yep. Let's say right now. Hold on, y'all. Let's get it, because everything pausing real quick. Please bear with me. We're getting to the end of our broadcast. Let's get it. Come on. Why are you freezing on me? Everything is kind of froze. So bear with me, guys, because I was just about to add the best part of waking up before we sign off. And that is...
This is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor. So, you guys doing a lot of snitching.
Yes, I am. And my, how you call it, nutty professor voice. Yes, I am. I love you guys. I want to say thank you for being here with Grace Levi. Continue to support, like, and share. I'm not leaving Dolton or Thornton yet until we get the job done. I know what I'm here for, and we're going to focus on that police station, that dirty damn police station, and also all of Tiffany Henyard goons. Okay, so until then, this is what you got to do.
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around. With your broke ass.
Now, all you crackheads, out!
Public comment, and she'll just put her head down and she won't listen to anything. She won't acknowledge anything. You know, I've seen mothers of murdered children and people who've lost family members in Dolton, she'll put her head down and she will not even acknowledge that the person is there.
Drunk as yeah,スライドするお前の地元にスライドするスライドする
Imagine if my small business blew up overnight and I woke up to some sales. Boost this video so people who like my products can find me.
Algorithm. Where you at, bitch? Because I'm tired of posting viral content and getting 2.5 likes. We finna fight, ho.